Hello, Steve White, Triple White 89 for Steve White's 89, Star Trek's Gatekeeper. I just watched Star Trek Picard Season 2, Episode 10, Farewell, the final episode. And I'm shocked at how much I actually enjoyed it. I found the conclusion to the characters' stories quite emotionally fulfilling. And I'm really surprised at this because I've hated the series so far, really hated the series so far. I was right, though, in that I initially said that really the first episode, the last episode, bookending episodes would be in, the future Federation, and they'd be the only decent episodes. I was a little bit off. The first episode was good. The second episode, most of the second episode was good, and then the end of this episode was good. So you could edit the three together and have one movie, basically, and just cut out all the rest. It's just sort of 20th century filler. 21st century filler. But yeah, okay, so the problem from the end of last episode was resolved in about 15 minutes, and it was very rushed, and I was really surprised at just the breakneck speed it went at. Basically, Picard piggybacked on, I think, Romulan Gary 7, I've forgotten her name, piggybacked onto her transporter, basically, and got into the launch. While Raffi and Rios and Seven basically destroyed Sung's backup drones, which are there to destroy the launch if he didn't convince Renee to abandon her mission, basically. So they do that by they get control of one after they've launched control of one of the drones and basically uses it to destroy the other ones, and basically Picard. The reason why he jumped into the transporter beam, basically, was because he could tell that Romulan Gary 7 was going to sacrifice herself for Renee, because she's basically protected Renee her whole life, and she knows how important the mission is and the future and everything. And he's like, I won't let you do this. And she's like, it's not up to you. You're not God. You don't control this. You're not responsible for all of this. Let it go. Let me go. And she's like, goes off and does her mission. And she finally gets to meet Renee and talk to her and just share. They share this moment, and then we see her leave, and then Sung grabs her because she's like, this crazy woman's like telling me that she's basically my guardian angel. She's watched me my whole life and everything. And then he takes her off to the side and he poisons her. And she's dying, and he's completed his task. He leaves, and we see Renee and Picard, and then Renee turns into Romulan Gary 7 because she was basically had disguised herself so that he would kill her and basically fully complete his mission, and then not have to kill him, destroy him, stop him, fight him. Basically, they just let him win in effect. That was what they meant by then has to be two Renees. But really, it wasn't really Renee, but yeah. So she dies in Picard's arms watching the launch, knowing that she saved this girl that she has watched her whole life and loved her whole life and finally got to meet and talk to. And it was okay. Sung, of course, is a little bit upset, and then it's made a little bit worse when his daughter basically destroys all of the data and all of his research and everything. And then she gets a call, which I will get to at the end. So she gets a call to observe something. Now, we go back to the chateau, and they're all basically like, okay, so what do we do with the rest of our lives now? We're stuck in the past. Rios is fine because he's found the love of his life, and he's happy to stay there. They went around and collected all the little things like the tricoders and damage phasers and communicators and all these things so they don't contaminate the timeline. They forgot all about the army, military, whatever they were, guys who will turn into Borg army drones and killed. They forgot about all them. So there's a whole bunch of issues with this episode, don't get me wrong. But I found it emotionally fulfilling, and I like what happened with the characters, but some of the story things and plot holes and things and the time issues are legion. So basically, Picard goes off to put the skeleton key in the wall where he's going to find it as a child. and then use that key to unlock the room that his mother is locked in and allow her out to kill herself. Because he has accepted his fate, he's accepted his future, he's accepted himself, forgiven himself, everything. And Q basically congratulates him. And then they have a conversation in the observatory, and Picard is like, why me? Why have you saved me? Why, am I going to save the universe? Am I important in the future? And he said, isn't one life enough? Aren't you enough? And he's basically saying, I like you. I care about you. You are my favourite. Even gods have favourites, basically, and you're my favourite. I just wanted to save you from yourself. I'm dying alone. You don't have to. I wanted to help you see, and learn, and not suffer my fate, basically. And it's quite a beautiful scene. Q, John Delancey does a good job. Patrick Stewart does a good job. Like the shot of Q holding Picard's face and everything. It's just brilliant. Because he's dying, and he basically his last wish was basically a selfless act to save someone from his fate. And it was just really made Q human. And I love that they were friends, because I always felt they were, but Picard always acted like he just was so high and mighty about all the other stuff. So he basically is like, I've got a little bit of power left, I'm going to send you all home. So they go meet up with the others in the chateau, and Raffi's wants to kill him because she blames him for Eleanor's death. And he's like, well, I'm pretty weak, you could kill me, or you could let me send you home. And she's like, okay. Rios decides to stay and just ignore all the complications of the timeline there. Taking Gillian out of the past in Star Trek 4 was one thing. The absence of someone, the effect that could have doesn't seem as big as the adding someone and all the things they could do. So that was just cans of worms there that they weren't addressing, but we'll let other people pick that apart. I'm not in the mood. Basically, Q is like, well, I'm done, and Picard's like, you're not alone. I'm here with you. You're not dying alone. This is what this is all about, really. You're not dying alone. You've redeemed yourself as well as me redeeming myself, thanks to you, and we're friends. And he just holds him as he does his last act. I guess he uses the last little bit of Q energy and disappears, basically, and sends them all back to the future about 20 seconds before the ship was supposed to self-destruct. Picard stops the self-destruct. Seven goes along with it, and they allow the Borg Queen to do her thing and trust her. And what she was doing was, there was some sort of galactic event that was going to happen that was going to destroy a nearby planet. I don't know if it was Earth. I think they were at a different planet. I can't remember from the first episode now. And she says, look, I need to take control I needed to bring the fleet here and take control of it so I could harmonize all the shields and turn you into one giant shield to stop this energy discharge that's going to come out of this event and basically save this planet. There's millions of people. So that's what she does. And what's left is a temporal conduit after that. And she asks for provisional membership of the Federation so they can stay there at the gates, basically, and protect it, because this is some sort of precursor that there's some sort of threat coming from this. I guess this is going to be the next season. So all that works out well, except Agnes. She plays the part well, but her makeup looks awful. They could have made her look good as a Borg Queen. She looks like Uncle Fester, with little lines with technology under her skin. And that detail is good, but the actress, her eyes are really close together. She has a really round head, and they didn't do anything to they had all this black technology and things on the back of her head, much like the Borg Queen. But her face they should have had some of that come in and give her some shape, and they just did a terrible job with the makeup. She looks awful, but she did a good job acting-wise. And now the Borg is a friend that saved us, so I'm fine with that. I don't need, certain things other people are sort of pushing for with this series. It's like, I'm okay with it. So yeah, 7 of 9 gets a field commission to captain, so now she's the captain of the Stargazer, and I'm a bit disappointed because I thought Rios being the captain of the Stargazer would have been a good series. Seven could have had her own series, but now we've got Seven as Captain of the Stargazer, and everyone lives happily ever after, basically. Elnor, Q brought him back because when Rios actually said he was going to stay, Q said, I got a little bit more energy, I might have one more little surprise, one gift. And that was bringing Elnor back to life. So Raffi got that little gift. And everyone basically lives happily ever after. And the series ends, there's two little endings here, one's a bit bigger, but with everyone at 10 forward, Guinan's there, and she's saying to Picard, basically, I could have told you, but you wouldn't have gone on the journey you needed to go on, so okay. She tells him all about Rios's death and how they lived their life, and everyone lives happily ever after. Raffi and that already, their relationship was going good, and Picard leaves and goes back to his Romulan lady friend and manages to convince her to stay. And the show ends with him opening himself up and allowing himself to be loved and her staying. And they basically pull out of the repaired observatory, which she had repaired for him, and they pull out, look at the chateau, and then go up and look into the sky, and there's a little flash of light, like, there's something out there. And that's the end of it. And it ended really well. I liked all the emotional resolution. There's one other part of the story which I'm not surprised, because when Will Wheaton said he wasn't in the third season, I was kind of shocked. I'm like, how could they do him that dirty? Because he's the host of the show. He's going to have to interview all these people that didn't include him in the third season. How is that going to work? Having him do all the third season interviews and stuff, and he's not even in the third season, but all the other cast members are. I thought there's something, they're going to have him somewhere else. And they did. Basically, Sung's daughter is invited to be one of the observers, one of the travellers. Basically, the travellers we met in the Next Generation, they are connected to the Gary 7 people, basically. They're all working together to basically make sure the tapestry of the galaxy isn't unravelled. And they're there basically to watch over everything and make sure, everything goes as it's supposed to, and work out where we need to intervene, where we don't, and so forth. So he's invited her to join their group. And I'm really glad that Wesley got this future, because Wesley went off to be a traveller, and then he just ended up in Nemesis just sitting at a wedding like a regular Starfleet officer. He didn't seem to be anything remarkable. He didn't even have lines. They cut his lines out. And I thought, just a bad way for the character to end. He didn't really, felt just, this is a downer. So now to see that he actually did become basically one of these travellers, and that they are far more important than just a random sort of traveller. So he's one of the observers or supervisors or whatever they're called now. So, and we'll look at all, what that's connected to later and where all that goes. But I'm just glad they gave that character that, just like I'm glad they gave Q this humanity, and him and Picard ended as friends. And I'm just quite happy with a happy ending. I'm really not that bothered by it. A lot of people may have some issues with it. But I found it quite emotional. I cried like a bitch with Q and his scenes. And even though there are some issues with the show and the episode and all the time issues and all that, I'm happy with the emotional resolution of the characters. They handled that fairly well, and I'm really surprised that they did, and I actually was okay with it, because up until then I pretty much had hated most of the series. But I did like this episode. So that's that. I was trying to keep this this review to 10 minutes. I could not do it. But that's it. Because, it was showing quite a bit of restraint to watch this, because I actually had access to Strange New Worlds before Picard. And I'm like, no, watch Picard, finish that, and then watch Strange New Worlds and just focus on that. You can't sort of watch Strange New Worlds and then go back to Picard. So I enjoyed this episode. I liked the resolution. It felt fulfilling emotionally, and I'm glad to see where all the parts have fallen for the next season. And I'm actually feeling surprisingly optimistic for season 3 of Picard, winding down the Next Generation era and giving some resolution to the characters who are all going to be brought back. I'm surprised. Maybe he just lied. Maybe he will be in the next season as well, in some way, but maybe not. Maybe he's just watching, and we don't need to actually see him pop up. And but I'm kind of looking forward to it. I think I'm actually going to enjoy the way it ends. There will be a bunch of issues, as because it's a mixed bag with New Trek. That there are some things they do really badly, and a couple of things they actually do okay, which are totally overshadowed by the other issues. But in this episode, I didn't feel quite like that. I felt like they did a good job of the resolution, and I'm looking forward to what they do in the next season, assuming it's all going to be a normal, 24th century Starfleet space adventure on ships with the Next Generation cast, basically. That, I don't know why we had to go through all this in season 1 and 2 to get to that, but if we actually get a season of it, that will be good. So I'm going to be optimistic and believe that. And I'm just going to leave it there on a positive note. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. I hope I didn't forget anything. I'm going to go. I'm not going to let this go over 15 minutes. Thanks. Bye.